A knife glints in the Lagos sunlight. Blood pounds in her ears. The cold CEO, who hasn't smiled in 20 years, stands frozen as a thief lunges forward. In 30 seconds, everything will change. Amara, a clumsy housemaid earning 30,000 naira monthly, doesn't think, she just acts. Her mop swings through the air. The collision is brutal. The aftermath? Impossible, because the man who built walls around his heart for 2 decades is about to crack, and the woman who has nothing is about to gain everything. But first, she has to survive the next 60 seconds without getting them both killed. The marble floor of the Ikoyi mansion gleamed like a mirror under Amara Okafor's worn-out slippers. At 24, her hands were already rough from years of scrubbing other people's luxury. She pushed the mop across the expansive hallway, humming a gospel song her mother used to sing in their tiny Ajagunle apartment. The Victorian-style mansion belonged to Chukwuemeka Okoli, Lagos's most notorious CEO, a man whose name alone made investors tremble and competitors retreat. In the 3 months Amara had worked here, she'd seen him exactly 4 times. Each time, his face was carved from stone, emotionless, cold. Before we continue, this story is just beginning to unfold. If you want to see how this impossible connection changes both their lives forever, tap that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. The afternoon heat pressed against the tall windows. Amara wiped sweat from her forehead, careful not to disturb her head wrap. She'd tied it hastily that morning, rushing to catch the Danfo bus from Surulere after her younger brother Emeka had fallen sick again. The medical bills were piling up. Her salary of 30,000 naira barely covered rent and food, let alone hospital visits. She pushed the thought away and focused on the floor. Mrs. Adeyemi, the head housekeeper, had warned her. One mistake, and she'd be back on the streets looking for work. Chukwuemeka sat in his study, surrounded by floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Lagos lagoon. At 42, he'd built an empire from nothing. Okoli Industries controlled shipping, real estate, and telecommunications across West Africa. Forbes called him the Ice King of Lagos. They didn't know the half of it. His last genuine smile had died 20 years ago, buried alongside his younger sister, Adaize, who'd been killed in a carjacking. Since then, emotions were liabilities. Trust was weakness. People were tools or obstacles, nothing more. His phone buzzed. Another business deal closing. Another million added to accounts he barely noticed anymore. He stood adjusting his tailored agbada, preparing for his 3 p.m. meeting with Chinese investors. The fabric whispered against Italian leather shoes as he moved toward the door. His mind was already calculating profit margins, negotiation angles, potential betrayals. Standard procedure. Then, everything changed. The crash echoed through the mansion like thunder. Glass shattered. A woman screamed. Chukwuemeka's body reacted before his mind processed. He was in the hallway in seconds. Amara saw the man burst through the service entrance. Wild eyes, desperate energy, a knife gleaming in his right hand. Her bucket clattered to the floor, soapy water spreading across marble. The intruder spotted Chukwuemeka emerging from the study. Time fragmented. The thief lunged forward, blade aimed at her employer's chest. Amara didn't think. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. When you see trouble coming, don't freeze. She grabbed her mop like a spear and swung with everything she had. The wooden handle connected with the thief's head with a sickening crack. He stumbled sideways, crashing into an antique vase worth more than her yearly salary. The knife skittered across wet marble. Silence. Chukwuemeka stared at the small woman in a faded uniform standing between him and danger. Her chest heaved. The mop shook in her hands. Their eyes met. For the first time in 20 years, something cracked inside his carefully constructed walls. Not much, just a hairline fracture, but enough. The thief groaned, trying to rise. Chukwuemeka moved then, his body blocking Amara as he delivered a precise kick that sent the intruder back down. Security guards finally arrived, flooding the hallway with noise and movement. They dragged the unconscious man away. Mrs. Adeyemi appeared, scolding Amara for not calling for help first, threatening termination for the broken vase. Enough. Chukwuemeka's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Everyone froze. He turned to Amara, studying her with intensity that made her want to disappear. What's your name? Amara Okafor, sir. Her voice trembled. You saved my life, Amara Okafor. His tone remained flat, emotionless, but something flickered behind his eyes. Something that hadn't existed in 2 decades. "Come to my office tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp." He walked away, leaving Amara standing in the wet hallway, confused and terrified. Mrs. Adeyemi's expression promised trouble. The other staff whispered, but Amara barely heard them, because the cold CEO had looked at her, really looked, and somehow, impossibly, she knew her life had just changed forever. What do you think will happen when Amara walks into that office tomorrow? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Amara didn't sleep. She lay on her thin mattress in the one-room apartment she shared with her brother and aging mother, staring at cracks in the ceiling. Lagos traffic hummed outside like a restless beast. Emeka coughed in his sleep, the sound wet and concerning. Medical bills, rent due in 2 weeks, and now this summons from a man who could destroy her with a phone call. At 7 a.m. she bathed using a bucket of cold water, scrubbing her skin until it hurt. She wore her only good dress, a simple Ankara print her mother had sewn 3 years ago for her cousin's wedding. The fabric had faded, but it was clean and pressed. Her mother watched from the corner, worry etched into every line of her face. "Amara, what did you do?" Her mother's voice carried 20 years of struggle. "I protected him, Mama. The man had a knife. Rich people don't like being protected by poor people. It makes them feel weak." Her mother's wisdom came from decades of serving in wealthy homes. "Maybe he wants to thank me properly." Amara tried to sound confident. "Or maybe he wants to punish you for seeing him vulnerable." That thought followed Amara onto the Danfo bus, through Lagos traffic, past street vendors hawking akara and bread, all the way to Ikoyi's manicured gates. The mansion loomed like a modern fortress. Security guards checked her ID 3 times. Even the security was nervous this morning. Something had shifted in the house's atmosphere. Mrs. Adeyemi met her at the service entrance, lips pressed into a disapproving line. "You're to go straight to the main office, 3rd floor. East wing. Don't touch anything. Don't speak unless spoken to, and for God's sake, don't do anything stupid." The older woman's tone suggested Amara had already failed on all counts. The mansion's interior was even more intimidating by day. Original artwork-lined walls, sculptures that probably cost more than her entire neighborhood sat on pedestals. Her slippers, freshly cleaned but worn, felt wrong against imported tiles. She climbed marble stairs, each step measured, her heart hammering against her ribs. The 3rd floor was quieter, carpeted. The door to Chukwuemeka's office stood open. He sat behind a mahogany desk that could have been imported from heaven. Behind him, floor-to-ceiling windows framed Lagos in all its chaotic glory. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost 6 months of her salary. His expression remained unreadable, that same carved-from-stone face that had earned him his reputation. "Sit," he gestured to a chair. Amara sat back straight, hands folded in her lap. Silence stretched between them like elastic pulled too tight. Chukwuemeka studied her with the same intensity from yesterday. Not hostile, not friendly, something else entirely. Finally, he spoke. "Tell me about yourself." Of all the things Amara expected, this wasn't it. "Sir, your name, family, education, why you work here. Start talking." Amara swallowed hard. "My name is Amara Okafor. I'm 24. I live in Surulere with my mother and younger brother. My father died 6 years ago. I finished secondary school but couldn't afford university. I work here because the pay is better than market trading, and my brother needs medical treatment." She stopped, realizing she'd said too much, but Chukwuemeka just nodded. "What's wrong with your brother?" "Chronic asthma. He needs regular medication and sometimes emergency treatment. The hospital bills." She trailed off. Why was she telling this stranger her problems? "How much do you owe?" His question was clinical, detached. 160,000 naira, sir, for the last 2 hospitalizations and ongoing medication. She said it without shame. Poverty wasn't her fault. Chukwuemeka pulled out his phone, typed something, then set it down. "It's paid. You'll receive confirmation within the hour." Amara's world tilted. "Sir, your brother's medical bills. They're paid. Consider it compensation for yesterday." "I don't understand. Why would you—" "Because you risked your life for mine without thinking about consequences. That's rare, especially in this city." His tone remained flat, but something flickered in his eyes again. That same crack from yesterday. "I don't need charity, sir." Pride stiffened her spine. "It's not charity. It's payment for services rendered. You protected me, I'm protecting you back. Fair exchange." He stood, moving to the window. I have a proposition. Dread and hope warred in Amara's chest. What kind of proposition? I need someone I can trust, someone who isn't after my money, my connections, or my influence. Someone who proved they'll act in my interests even when it costs them. He turned to face her. I want you as my personal assistant. The pay is $250,000 monthly, plus benefits. You'll work directly with me, handle sensitive information, accompany me to meetings. Amara's mouth went dry. That salary was life-changing. Impossible. Sir, I'm not educated enough for that position. I can't. You're intelligent. I can hear it in how you speak. You're observant. You noticed the thief before my trained security did. And you're brave. Those three things matter more than certificates. The offer hung between them like a bridge over a canyon. Cross it and everything changes. Stay and remain safe in familiar poverty. Why me? Amara asked. Why not someone qualified? Because qualified people lie. They have agendas. You swung a mop at an armed man to protect someone you barely know. That's not rational. It's instinctive. I need instinctive loyalty more than I need another smooth-talking graduate. He was serious. This cold, feared CEO was offering her a life she'd only dreamed about, and terrifying her in the process. I need to think about it. You have until tomorrow morning, same time. He dismissed her with a nod. Amara stood, legs shaking, and walked toward the door. Miss Okafor. She turned. Don't disappoint me. I don't give second chances. She nodded and left, knowing her answer already. Because when opportunity knocks in Lagos, you don't leave it standing outside. Would you take this offer if you were Amara? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. 3 weeks transformed Amara's world beyond recognition. The girl who'd scrubbed floors now sat in boardrooms with men who controlled millions. Chukwuemeka's tailor had created a wardrobe for her. Professional dresses, blazers, shoes that didn't hurt after 12 hours. Her hair was professionally styled, her nails manicured. From the outside, she looked like she belonged. Inside, she felt like an imposter wearing someone else's life. The work was brutal. Chukwuemeka ran his empire with military precision. Meetings started exactly on time. Reports needed perfect accuracy. He spoke 4 languages and expected her to keep up. She learned quickly or drowned. There was no middle ground. But something unexpected was happening. The cold CEO was thawing, so gradually that most people didn't notice. But Amara did. It started with small things. During a tense negotiation with German investors, she'd spilled coffee on the conference table. Everyone froze, expecting an eruption. Instead, Chukwuemeka had calmly helped her clean it up, then continued the meeting as if nothing happened. His senior managers looked like they'd seen a ghost. The Ice King helping someone? Impossible. Then came the morning she'd arrived late, stuck in Lagos traffic after her brother's emergency hospital visit. She'd rushed in, apologies tumbling out, expecting termination. Chukwuemeka had looked up from his laptop, studied her worried face, and simply asked, "Is your brother stable?" When she nodded, he'd replied, "Then breathe. Sit. We'll start when you're ready." His executives whispered about strange behavior. But the real shift came during a late-night work session at the mansion. They'd been reviewing contracts for a Abuja real estate deal. 2 a.m. The city finally quiet. Amara's eyes burned from reading legal documents. "Take a break," Chukwuemeka said, surprising her. He rarely suggested rest. They walked to the terrace overlooking the lagoon. Lagos twinkled in the distance like scattered diamonds. The air smelled of night-blooming flowers and sea salt. "Can I ask you something?" Amara ventured, emboldened by exhaustion. "You just did. Why haven't you smiled in 20 years? The question hung in the humid air. Chukwuemeka's jaw tightened. She'd crossed a line, but instead of dismissing her, he answered, "My sister, Adaeze. She was 17, bright, full of dreams, wanted to be a doctor." His voice remained controlled, but pain leaked through the cracks. She was coming home from evening lessons. Wrong place, wrong time. Armed robbers wanted our father's car. She hesitated. They shot her. Amara's heart broke. "I'm so sorry. I was supposed to pick her up that day. Had a business meeting instead. 22 years old, chasing my first big deal. Thought I was so important." He stared at the water. "She died. Because I chose ambition over family. That's not your fault, isn't it? I learned an important lesson that day. Emotions make you vulnerable. Love makes you weak. If I'd been there, maybe I could have stopped it. But I was busy feeling proud of myself. So you stopped feeling anything at all? Precisely. Can't lose what you don't have. Amara turned to face him. But you're not living. You're just existing in an expensive prison. His eyes snapped to hers, sharp and dangerous. You think you understand me after 3 weeks? No, but I understand loss. My father worked himself to death trying to provide for us. Triple shifts at the port. His heart gave out at 48. I was 18. Her voice steadied. I could have closed off, could have stopped caring, but that would have meant he died for nothing. It's not the same. You're right. Your guilt is bigger, but the cage is the same. She shouldn't have said it, but the words were out, hovering between them like a challenge. Chukwuemeka stared at her, something shifting behind his carefully constructed walls. You're dangerously honest, Miss Okafor. You hired me for instinct, remember? My instinct says you're tired of being cold. Silence. Then, incredibly, his lips twitched. Not quite a smile, but the ghost of one, the beginning of a thaw. Get some sleep, he said, walking back inside. We have meetings at 7. But something had shifted. They both felt it. Over the following days, small changes accumulated. He started asking about her family, actually listening to her answers. He bought medication for Emeka without being asked. He defended her when a junior executive dismissed her suggestion in a meeting. The Ice King was melting, 1 degree at a time. And Lagos's business community noticed. Rumors spread like wildfire through the city's elite circles. Chukwuemeka Okoli had been seen laughing, actually laughing, at something his assistant said. The Ice King was thawing, and everyone wanted to know why. But the biggest change came unexpectedly. During a charity gala at Echo Hotel, Amara wore an elegant blue dress Chukwuemeka had insisted on buying. She felt out of place among Lagos's elite. Old money and new money mingled under crystal chandeliers. She recognized senators, oil magnates, entertainment moguls. Then disaster struck. A wealthy socialite, Mrs. Adebayo, recognized Amara from a market where she'd once worked. Isn't that the girl who used to sell tomatoes in Balogun? Market? Her voice carried across the room. My goodness, Chukwuemeka, did you hire her as entertainment? Laughter rippled through the crowd. Humiliation burned Amara's cheeks. She wanted to disappear, to run, to wake up from this nightmare. Then Chukwuemeka did something impossible. He smiled, not the cold corporate smile he wore for cameras, a genuine warm smile that transformed his entire face. He took Amara's hand, his touch sending electricity through her arm. Mrs. Adebayo, meet Amara. Okafor, my executive assistant and the most valuable member of my team. She's more honest than my lawyers, braver than my security, and smarter than most people in this room, including you. The room went silent. Lagos's cold CEO was defending a former market girl in front of the city's elite. I've built my fortune on recognizing value where others see nothing. Amara has more integrity in her smallest finger than most of you have in your entire bodies. Anyone who disrespects her disrespects me. And we all know how I handle disrespect. His tone remained pleasant, but the threat was clear. Mrs. Adebayo paled and retreated. Others suddenly found Amara fascinating, rushing to introduce themselves. But Amara barely noticed them, because Chukwuemeka was still holding her hand, still smiling, and something in his eyes had changed fundamentally. The Ice King had melted, and standing in the ruins of his frozen fortress was a man who'd forgotten how to feel, remembering. For Amara, the realization hit like a Lagos thunderstorm. She was falling for him, for the man beneath the reputation, for the broken soul trying to heal, for the impossible, and from the way he was looking at her, gentle and uncertain and alive, he was falling too. The question was, would Lagos let them survive the fall? What obstacles do you think they'll face now that their feelings are obvious? Share your predictions in the comments. The backlash started within 24 hours. Lagos's elite didn't forgive easily, and they definitely didn't forget. Chukwuemeka Okoli, the untouchable Ice King, had shown weakness. Worse, he'd shown it for a poor girl from Surulere. The blogs exploded first. Ice King melts for market girl. Okoli's midlife crisis. How low can the mighty fall? Photos from the gala circulated with vicious commentary. Business associates called, concerned about his judgment. 3 board members requested emergency meetings. His mother, Chief Mrs. Adaora Okoli, arrived at the mansion unannounced, her presence commanding like a storm front. Amara was in the office when she swept in, draped in expensive aso-oke, her neck heavy with gold. "Leave us," she commanded. Amara looked at Chukwuemeka, who nodded slightly. She left, but stayed close enough to hear raised voices. "Have you lost your mind?" His mother's voice could cut steel. "That girl is nobody. No family, no education, no connections. She saved my life. So reward her and move on. Don't make yourself a laughingstock. I don't care what people think. You should. Your reputation affects this family, this business, everything your father and I built. Everything you built by being cold and strategic, by treating people like chess pieces. I'm tired of it." His voice rose, something Amara had never heard. "This isn't about the girl. This is about you running from a Daisy's death for 20 years. Silence crashed like thunder. "Don't." Chukwuemeka's voice went dangerous. "Don't speak her name to. Justify your ambition. Your sister would want you happy, but not with someone so beneath you." "Beneath me?" "Amara has more courage than anyone I've ever met. She doesn't want my money. She doesn't use people. She's genuine in a city built on lies. She's a project. You're bored and playing savior. When you tire of her, what then?" "I won't tire of her." The certainty in his voice made Amara's heart stop. "Then you're a fool." His mother left in a hurricane of expensive perfume and disappointment. Amara stepped back into the office. Chukwuemeka stood by the window, shoulders tense. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be. She's wrong." But doubt had planted seeds. That night, Amara lay awake in the small bedroom Chukwuemeka had arranged for her in the mansion's guest wing, thinking about his mother's words. What was she doing? This couldn't last. They lived in different worlds. The next morning brought worse news. Emeka's condition had deteriorated. Her mother called at 6. Panic threading her voice. "He can't breathe properly. The inhaler isn't working." Amara rushed to the hospital, Chukwuemeka insisting his driver take her. The general hospital in Surulere was chaos. Crowded corridors, overwhelmed nurses, the smell of antiseptic and desperation. Emeka lay in a shared ward fighting for air, his lips slightly blue. "We need to transfer him to a private hospital," the doctor explained. "His asthma has complications. We don't have the equipment here." "How much?" 500,000 naira immediately. Amara's world spun. Even with her new salary, she hadn't saved that much. She called Chukwuemeka, hating herself for needing him. He answered on the first ring. "What's wrong?" "My brother. He needs emergency transfer. I don't have enough." "I'm sending a medical team. Which hospital?" "Chukwuemeka, I can't keep taking from you." "You're not taking. I'm giving. There's a difference. Text me the location." 20 minutes later, a private ambulance arrived with specialists. They stabilized Emeka and transferred him to Reddington Hospital in Victoria Island. Amara followed, her mother crying with relief, but gratitude mixed with shame. She was becoming exactly what his mother said, a charity case. At the private hospital, everything was different, clean, efficient, expensive. Emeka was settled in a private room with monitoring equipment that beeped reassuringly. The specialist explained the treatment plan. Her mother held her hand, whispering prayers. Then Chukwuemeka arrived, still in his business suit, having left meetings to be there. "How is he?" "Stable, thanks to you." Amara couldn't meet his eyes. "I'll cover everything. Don't worry about costs." "I can't let you do this." "Why not?" "Because your mother is right. I'm becoming a burden, a project." "Is that what you think?" His voice went quiet, hurt flickering across his face. "I think we're from different worlds. I think this," she gestured between them, "is impossible. I think I'm fooling myself. Amara, I should resign. Find work at my level. Stop pretending I belong in your life." The words tasted like poison, but someone had to be realistic. "What if I need you in my life?" The vulnerability in his question nearly broke her. "You'll find someone appropriate, someone your family approves of, someone who doesn't need rescuing every other week." "I don't want appropriate. I want real." He stepped closer. "Do you know what you did for me? You made me feel again. After 20 years of nothing, you brought me back to life. By being a burden, by being brave, by being honest, by seeing me as human, instead of a bank account or a business opportunity." His hands cupped her face, his touch gentle and certain. "Don't quit on us because my mother is a snob or because Lagos gossips. Fight for this. I don't know how to fight in your world. Then fight in yours, with honesty and courage. That's all I need." He kissed her then, soft and desperate, pouring 20 years of frozen emotions into that connection. Amara kissed back, tasting salt from tears she didn't realize she'd shed. When they broke apart, her mother stood in the doorway, eyes wide. "Mama," Amara started, but her mother surprised her. "Is he good to you?" She addressed Chukwuemeka directly. "I'm trying to be. Will you protect her from people who will say terrible things? With everything I have. Then I don't care about your money or your name." Her mother's voice carried the weight of all the struggles she'd survived. "I care that my daughter is happy, and I haven't seen her this alive in years." She left them alone. Amara laughed through tears. "Well, that was unexpected. Mothers know things." Chukwuemeka pulled her close. "Fight with me, Amara, please. Against Lagos's elite. Your family, the entire world? Yes, that's insane." Completely. His smile was real, warm, transforming his face into something beautiful. "Is that a yes?" Amara thought of all the reasons to say no, then thought of his smile, his laugh, the way he looked at her like she was valuable. "It's a yes." Thunder rumbled outside. The storm was just beginning. Do you think they can survive the opposition they're about to face? Drop your thoughts below. 6 months changed everything and nothing, Lagos still whispered. His mother still disapproved. Business associates still questioned his judgment. But Chukwuemeka stopped caring about opinions and started caring about living. The transformation was remarkable. Board meetings now included strategic breaks. He attended Emeka's school play. He laughed at Amara's stories about Danfo bus adventures. The Ice King had become human, and his empire didn't collapse. It grew stronger. Employees worked harder for a boss who saw them as people. Negotiations improved because he understood compromise. Investors respected honesty over manipulation. Turns out, being human was good for business. But the real battle was internal. Chukwuemeka wrestled with 20 years of emotional shutdown. Some days were easy. Others, the walls tried to rebuild themselves. On a rainy Thursday evening, Amara found him in his study, staring at a photograph. Adaizi, young, smiling, full of dreams that would never materialize. "Today's her birthday," he said quietly. "She would have been 37. Amara sat beside him. "Tell me about her." "She was brilliant, wanted to be a neurosurgeon, used to practice on dolls, making me play the nervous patient." His smile was bittersweet. "She believed people were fundamentally good. I used to argue with her about that. Maybe you both were right. How? Some people are good, some aren't. The trick is knowing which ones deserve your trust." She took his hand. "And forgiving yourself when you guess wrong. I should have been there." The old guilt surfaced. "Yes, and you weren't. And it's terrible. But staying frozen doesn't honor her memory." Chukwuemeka turned to her, eyes bright with unshed tears. "You're right. She would have hated what I became. But she would love who you're becoming." That night, they visited Adaizi's grave for the first time in 5 years. Ikoyi Cemetery, quiet and green. Amara stood back as Chukwuemeka knelt by the headstone. "I'm sorry I disappeared, Adaizi. I thought not feeling was safer, but I was wrong. I met someone who reminded me why feeling matters." He paused, wiping his eyes. "She's brave and honest, and completely inappropriate. According to Mother, you would have loved her." Amara joined him, placing flowers on the grave. "I wish I'd known you," she whispered. "Your brother is a good man, trying very hard to heal." The rain stopped. Sunlight broke through clouds, painting everything gold. A sign, maybe, or just weather. Either way, something shifted. The next morning brought unexpected news. Chief Mrs. Okoli requested a meeting. Not a confrontation. A meeting. They gathered in the mansion's formal sitting room. His mother arrived with her usual commanding presence, but something had softened in her expression. "I've been watching you these past months," she began without preamble. "You're different. Lighter. More like the boy you were before." She trailed off. "Before I lost my soul." Chukwuemeka finished. "Before you stopped living out of fear." She turned to Amara. "I owe you an apology. I judged you by superficial standards. Money, education, family connections. I forgot that character matters most." Amara blinked, shocked. "Ma? My son was dying inside. Successful, yes, but empty. You brought him back to life. That's worth more than any dowry or family name." "Thank you," Amara managed. "However," his mother continued, "Lagos will always judge. You'll face criticism, discrimination, people who think you're not good enough. It won't be easy." "I know. Can you handle that? Long term?" Amara thought about her journey. From market seller to housemaid to executive assistant, from poverty to possibility, from invisible to seen. I've been handling difficult my whole life, Ma. This is just a different kind of difficult. Chief Mrs. Okoli smiled, genuine warmth breaking through. Then welcome to the family. Unofficially, of course. Chukwuemeka hasn't properly proposed yet. Mother! What? I'm traditional. There are steps. She stood, regal and amused. Take your time, but not too much time. I'm not getting younger. After she left, Chukwuemeka laughed, the sound rich and free. Well, that was unexpected. Your mother is terrifying, completely but fair once you earn her respect. He pulled Amara into his arms. So, about that proposal, don't you dare do it just because your mother suggested it. What if I've been planning it for months? Her heart stuttered. Have you? Maybe. His smile was playful now. Another miracle. Would you say yes if I asked? That depends on how you ask. Demanding woman. You hired me for honesty. I'm being honest. They spent the afternoon planning. Not the proposal, that would be a surprise, but their future. Realistic conversations about challenges ahead, how to blend their worlds, how to protect their relationship from external pressure, how to build something lasting in a city built on illusions. Emika's health improved steadily. Amara's mother started a small catering business with money Chukwuemeka invested. The mansion became a real home instead of a fortress. Staff smiled more. Security guards joked with Chukwuemeka. Laughter echoed through halls that had been silent for 20 years. Business continued thriving. But now Chukwuemeka built differently. Fair wages, ethical practices, mentorship programs for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Okoli Industries became known for both profit and principle. Lagos's elite eventually accepted the inevitable. Chukwuemeka and Amara were a unit. Fighting it was futile. Some embraced them. Others remained cold. Most simply adjusted. On a perfect Saturday evening, Chukwuemeka took Amara to Bar Beach. Not the exclusive beach clubs where elites gathered, the public beach where regular Lagosians relaxed. They walked barefoot in the sand, waves washing over their feet. The sunset painted the sky in impossible colors. This is where my father used to bring us, Chukwuemeka said. Before success, before tragedy, when we were just a family. It's beautiful. Amara. He stopped walking, turning to face her. 6 months ago, you swung a mop at an armed man and saved my life. But you did more than that. You saved me from myself. He knelt in the sand, pulling out a small velvet box. Not ostentatious. Simple. Perfect. I don't have a speech prepared because the right words don't exist. I love you. Not because you're brave or honest or beautiful, though you're all those things. I love you because you see the man beneath the reputation and choose him anyway. Tears streamed down Amara's face. Will you marry me? Build a life that matters. Show Lagos that love doesn't care about bank accounts or social status. Yes? The word came out as a sob and a laugh. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. A simple gold band with a single diamond. Not the massive rock people would expect. Something real. They kissed while the sun set. Waves crashing around them. Lagos buzzing in the background. Two people from different worlds building a bridge between them. Amara thought about the journey. From a girl scrubbing floors to a woman building an empire alongside a man who'd forgotten how to smile. From invisible to essential. From survival to living. What are you thinking? Chukwuemeka asked. That I should send that thief a thank you card? For trying to rob me? For giving me a reason to swing a mop? Best decision I ever made. He laughed, that beautiful sound she'd worked so hard to unlock. Second best. What's first? Saying yes just now. They walked back as stars emerged, hand in hand, planning a future that would scandalize traditionalists and inspire dreamers. Because sometimes the coldest hearts thaw, sometimes the bravest acts come from unexpected people, sometimes a clumsy housemaid with a mop becomes the catalyst for transformation, and sometimes, in a city as chaotic and beautiful as Lagos, love finds a way, against all odds, against all expectations, against everything the world says is impossible. The Ice King had melted, the market girl had risen, and together they were building. Something neither money nor status could buy. Something real, something lasting, something worth fighting for. In Lagos, where dreams are as common as traffic and as fleeting as rain, Chukwuemeka and Amara proved that the most impossible dreams are the ones worth chasing. One swing of a mop at a time. You've just witnessed an impossible love story unfold across Lagos. But this is just one tale of transformation. What happens when fate pushes two strangers together under circumstances even more shocking than these? There's another story waiting that will leave you speechless. The next video has a twist you won't see coming. Click now before you miss what could be the most emotional journey you'll watch today. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one.